Welcome to the Story of Liberty. This is Jennifer Featherstone. In the story of America's Great Seal, there's a particularly relevant chapter in the imagery suggested by Benjamin Franklin in August of 1776. He chose a dramatic historical scene described in Exodus, where the people confronted a tyrant in order to gain their freedom. Franklin's design was recommended by the first committee for the reverse side of the Great Seal. No sketch was made of their design. This drawing was made by Benson J. Lusing for Harper's New Monthly Magazine in July of 1856. However, we must note that Lusing failed to include something Franklin specified: rays from a pillar of fire in the clouds reaching down to Moses. Thomas Jefferson was so inspired by the motto and loved it so much that he used it on his personal seal. Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. Also, it seems to have inspired the upper motto on the final version of the reverse side of the Great Seal: God has favored our undertakings. Ben Franklin chose this dramatic historical scene which was described in Exodus, and we see him doing this many times in history. He often compared the people confronting the tyrant Pharaoh and the freedom fighter Moses to America's great struggle in the Revolution. This is Ben Franklin's original note describing how he wanted the Great Seal of America to look in 1776. He wrote, "Moses, in the dress of a high priest," which he later crossed out, "standing on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, thereby causing the same to overwhelm Pharaoh, who is sitting in an open chariot, a crown on his head and a sword in his hand, rays from a pillar of fire in the clouds reaching to Moses, to express that he acts by the command of the deity." Then he wrote the words motto: "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." In the Journals of the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, it is written, "Resolved that Dr. Franklin, M. J. Adams, and Mr. Jefferson be a committee to bring in a device for a seal of the United States of America." For the first design team, Congress chose 3 of 5 men who were on the committee that drafted the Declaration of Independence. Although these distinguished committee members were among the ablest minds in the new nation, they had little knowledge of seal design. To help convey their vision, they chose a French artist to work with them. He was skilled at the arts of seal design and had designed the seals of Delaware and New Jersey. He was also an avid collector of all things American and founded the first history museum in the United States. The 4 men got together and consulted among themselves between July 4th and August 13th. Then each brought before the committee a suggestion for the design of the seal. As we talked about, Ben Franklin's proposal was preserved in this note of his own handwriting. Thomas Jefferson's suggestion is also very interesting. For the front of the seal, he chose the children of Israel in the wilderness, led by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. For the reverse side, Jefferson wanted the legendary leaders of the first Anglo-Saxon settlers in Britain. John Adams chose a painting known as the Judgment of Hercules, where the young Hercules must choose to travel either on the flowery path of self-indulgence or ascend the rugged, uphill way of duty to others and honor to himself. On the reverse side of the seal, Jefferson edited Franklin's suggestion. Instead, they have Pharaoh sitting on an open chariot, a crown on his head, and a sword in his hand, passing through the divided waters of the Red Sea in pursuit of the Israelites. Rays from a pillar of fire in the cloud expressive of the divine presence and command, beaming on Moses, who stands on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, causes it to overwhelm Pharaoh. The motto remained, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." On August 20th, 1776, the same day Congress received the committee's report, it was ordered to lie on the table. In other words, Congress was unimpressed with their design. Two of its design elements, however, were chosen for the final seal: the Eye of Providence and the motto E Pluribus Unum. Also, some of the meaning of Franklin's motto is seen on one eventually used above the radiant eye on the reverse side of the Great Seal. In Latin, Providence has favored our undertakings. And this is the story of how Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and Adams met together and tried to convey their thoughts of America onto America's Great Seal. And as we can see, Franklin and Jefferson both compared it to the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt and defeating the tyrant Pharaoh. This is an amazing story.